Welcome back to Svartbjörn Productions and yet another episode of Movie Reviews. What I've got today are upgrades and a couple of never owned ones as well. Let's get to it. American Graffiti. Looks-wise, I noticed that some wider shots in the beginning of the movie was unsharp and lacked detail. That got me worried a bit, but the rest of the footage looks great. It's colorful, a bit grainy and feels like the 50s. The story is not a fairy tale, rather the last night of some graduate youngsters about to leave for high school. The story doesn't really get me hooked, even though I've been there myself. Maybe it's just too silly for my taste. I enjoyed the twist at the end though. I won't be hanging on to either of these, the DVD or the Blu-ray. This release gets 3 Jeeps out of 5. Being there. Been on the hunt for this specific release of the movie for quite a while. Maybe because it was easier to come across secondhand than the Criterion Collection one at the time. And I always dug the cover art better on this one. But I can see now, I had imagined this release being more special than it really is. The bonus material is somewhat lacking, and I would be surprised if this one was restored in 4K like the Criterion. This movie isn't that visual though, so I'm fine with this copy. It's more poetic and philosophical. Brilliant movie. 4 remote controls out of 5. Defending your life. There is some bonus material in here, but I would have expected more. On the other hand, there's a nice booklet inside. When I saw that they hadn't tampered with the photo any, I thought to myself, typical Criterion. I wonder if it's a practice that they use. I love it when companies stay in the lane, so I want to know what I can expect going into it. There's a lot of grain in the picture, if that's your thing. I'd prefer a bit less, but not with a Criterion release though. And now to the story. Not good or bad, but rather afraid or unafraid. That's an interesting way of evaluating a lifetime. Not a big fan of the ending. Real courage should come from within. Needing someone to be strong is not real strength in my book. Even if I don't love how the movie looks, I'm very glad to be able to own it. Up until recently, there's only been region-locked DVDs of this movie available, and I've wanted it for years. 3 pies out of 5. Lost in Space. This sci-fi looks amazing on Blu-ray. Wasn't expecting the footage and CGI to present itself this good. If you like this one and want a bit more from this universe, go to Netflix for the Lost in Space series. Haven't seen the original from 1965 to 68, so unfortunately I can't recommend that one in good conscience. 4 bubbles out of 5. My Stepmother is an alien. I really like Arrow video releases. They are cozy and fun. I mean, just have a look at this included booklet, for example. With pictures and text. And also you get this 30 days free streaming on arrowplayer.com. This release is a little light on extras though. I have fond memories from this movie from growing up, but I never had a copy though. The special effects aren't always superb, but it's a comedy after all. Great contrasts in the image at least. Father and daughter have a weird relationship, I must say. Mostly weird, in fact, is the daughter, in the beginning at least. The script seems pretty wacky, seeing the movie with adult eyes. And by the way, I caught some Ghostbusters vibes in the bedroom scene. 3 batteries out of 5. The Philadelphia Experiment. This one could have needed a 4K scan from the original footage, because it's often quite unsharp. The only bonus features are trailers. That is disappointing. The story is okay, but not the best time-traveling sci-fi out there. Nothing groundbreaking happens, and the relationships aren't that moving. I believe Forever Young has a similar story, but that one is much better. But for $5 though? 2 TVs out of 5. This is England. There's no subtitles with this release, but the story is quite easy to follow. The movie begins with a long intro of stock footage, text and music. Maybe too long? You get a nice warm retro look to the photo, just as it should be. This movie is about a lonely, bullied boy who finds friends in a gang of misfits. But trouble comes into paradise when he gets introduced to an unbalanced skinhead who's recently got out of jail. Our protagonist sees him as a role model and believes he's found his purpose within nationalism. But then he gets conflicted when his Jamaican friend Milky gets assaulted by the skinhead. A very strong drama that you need to see. 4 Tompkins out of 5. Waterworld 4K. The cover makes it look like the movie took place in the 16 or 1700s. A bit confusing, wouldn't you agree? I must say I prefer a Waterworld to a sand one. It feels more sci-fi, in lack of better words. They trade in dirt here though. The visuals look like they should, not tampered with, that is. Looks great. One thing that bugs me about this film, the amount of bullets, cigarettes and fuel that smokers possess. There can't be that many capsized ships still afloat out there, can it? A tagline that I would like to attach to the smokers, and especially the main bad guy, the deacon, would go something like, almost nothing beats an enemy with a death wish. On to the photo. There's some great underwater views when the mariner starts to accept Enola and takes her for a dive. The movie has got a well-composed soundtrack. Never actually paid attention to that before. A spoiler, the tanker that they're on is supposed to be the Exxon Valdez that burned in the 80s. And guess what? It burns once again. The first clue, the ship's former captain. Playing the disc, I noticed that it isn't as noisy as The Abyss, but certainly not quiet. Not a good trend now, is it? I will be upgrading from Blu-ray because it was a great steal, and I get a Blu-ray in this one too. 4 crayons out of 5. Zoolander. Zoolander. Where have all the fun menus gone since DVD? Why not a screaming Mugato face as a transition, etc.? Not even the Relax song is in there. A downgrade from DVDs maybe. I know what you're thinking. Why did they upgrade this title then? Well, simply because it was a great deal. 3 orange mocha frappuccinos out of 5. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good one.